Hey Heifers, and welcome to Angus Eye Tea, the podcast all about anxiety, depression, and working on getting our shit together. That has been my lifelong dream. And sometimes you got to realize a dream is something you want to come true, right? But a practice is something that you continually work on with the knowledge that you will continue to get better, but there's always more to work on or things happen, right? Like that's why they call yoga a practice, because it's a way of life and you have to keep doing it. And as opposed to being like, yeah, I want to get my shit together. And once I do this to-do list, check, I've done it. I'm good for the rest of my life. Not true. There are always opportunities to fuck it up. Don't you love that? I'm going to light some incense because we talked about yoga, which I haven't done in a while. And the incense I have today, it's sandalwood. I really don't know anything about that. This is my first time actually owning incense, and I don't own the proper like holding tool thing. So my friend gave me this tiny square with a hole, and I think I'm doing it right. But I've also engaged my Smokey the Bear mood. So let's be careful. But here we go. Yeah, hopefully my microphone isn't flammable. Let's not test that out, seeing as it's right by the moneymaker. Okay, there we go. Open flame. Okay, let's not. This isn't a candle. Okay. Okay, there we go. Wow. That's there we go. Okay. And I'll just lean you over a pile of not flammable sticky notes. I'm fine. Anyway, welcome. This episode is going to be weird and different, and I'm going to try to keep it organized. It's going to be part goals for a sliver, and then I'm gonna get to the big news, the secret. I always have secrets. I don't know. I don't want to call it a secret. I feel like secrets are shocking and wow factor, and they can be really, really good or really, really bad. And to me, this is more of like a neutral, like calm thing. But I just need to get it out there. See, look at me stalling like my car a few months ago. R.I.P. So let's quickly go over all the goals. This will not take long. I'm sure you'll find out why. Oh, shocking, Elaine, get your life together. So in May, I kind of really wanted to enter it with this positive vibe. And at the beginning of May, I met with my friend and we were sitting down and we literally had a day where it was like, Elaine, let's figure out what the fuck is going on with you. And, I say that kindly because sometimes our mental health shit gets in the way, but usually it is like sprung from something. And especially for me, I have so many external and internal turmoil. It all can mesh together and form a gooey peanut butter. That's disgusting. We call that depression peanut butter. And I had it all over me. It was the crunchy kind, not the smooth kind. Like, yeah, it was thick. Where am I going? Keep it up, Elaine. Okay. Anyway, we sat down and like for hours, it was just kind of like, okay, Elaine, what is this block you're having? Let's go through it. We made sticky notes that said like purpose, meaning, fun, work, dreams, hopes. And I had to list out the different things of my life and put them under these different categories because I feel very lost, I guess, in terms of what I want to do with my career, because to me, that means what do I want to do with my life? My career determines where I will live. It will determine what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. It will affect a lot of things about me. And I, in this break I've really come to learn how much of my life is truly affected by that. Like, I think we all know, we're like, oh yeah, 9 to 5, like that takes up a lot of my time. Whatever job you have, it's like that takes up your time. But taking the step back and just kind of sitting here and thinking about it and learning what life would be like if I didn't define myself as X title has been really hard and good. I think I've gotten a lot of clarity I wouldn't have ever gotten until maybe I retired. At the same time, though, I feel like I'm back at square one, but I still have the old thought patterns of I need to get this salary and live in this apartment and have this job title, and then I'll feel like secure in myself to talk to other people. Like I don't want to feel less than, and that's how I do it. I don't know. So for me, I've turned getting my next job into basically what's the next life I'm going to put on? What's the next one I'm going to rent out, drive around for a bit. And that's a lot of pressure. Getting a job is already a tough gig, but now I've decided everything kind of weighs on it. And to be fair to me, I don't think I'm, coming out of left field with that mentality because our jobs so greatly affect everything. So anyway, the point of all of that is we finally wrote down everything, and it turned out that travel writers seem to fit majority of all of these categories: purpose, meaning, fun, work, dreams, hopes, kind of accumulated there. That doesn't mean that has to be what it is, but just something in my life. I love traveling. I love writing. I love getting to share those stories. And for me, travel and writing almost showed up under every single category. So it kind of made sense to mesh those together, which helps me get a direction, at least in where do I want to go? What do I want to do? And do I really want to be a travel writer? I don't know, but I could still be writing and traveling separately, but I learned that that's something I want. And now that I know that I want it, I'm afraid to go get it, because if I don't get it, then I just have decided I'll be eternally sad for the rest of my life. Anyway, that was a really big rant, basically to say that happened basically right before May started. And the second I had that realization and I was like, oh my gosh, I know what I should go after, I shut down completely. When I've talked a lot in May about feeling depressed, and that genuinely, I think in my head, was the tipping point. I think I already was feeling depressed, but that just hit the lever. And we went down a few feet, yards, kilometers for my non-Americans. What the fuck am I saying? Something about realizing exactly what I want or what I would want to achieve that still feels out of reach terrified me. I think in my head, I also realized, well, that will never happen. And so the thing I want is now yet again taken away from me. And I think I've had that thought so often with my mental health that it was just really easy to kick back into that. There have been times where I'm like, oh, I'll never get to be purely happy because I'm depressed, anxious, bipolar. And it's not true, but that's what our brain tells us. And it's really hard when you're in the thick of things to remember that you can see above. It's kind of like when you're in an airplane and it's really stormy, but then you break through the clouds and you realize it's just always sunny above the clouds. That's kind of how I feel mental health is. It's you get stuck in the storm, and the storm can be raging for forever, and then you'll get to pop your head up occasionally. And you remember that above the clouds, there is sunshine and it's always there. It's just really frustrating to not get to just fly up there more times than not. But with work and stuff, it does get better. I tend to hate that phrase because it's what do I do now? But each day is getting better. It's not just wait a year, and it's hard to see that progress, but I'm going all over the place right now. Like I said, I might do, living up to my brand. But mostly what I'm saying is that I was stuck in the storm and I just now kind of peeked out above the clouds. And it's okay, let's calm down. Let's figure it out. So yeah, I think that because in my head, mental health takes away all happy things, I came across this realization, wow, this is something I really want. And I haven't really wanted something in my life like this. As cheesy as it is, it's kind of don't dream big because then you can't get hurt. And that's what I've done. Ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be a writer. And then I had a huge block after I graduated college. I'm going to go with also, I just had shit mental health that didn't allow me to really focus on bettering myself and doing those kinds of things that I wanted to do. I had a lot of, I don't want to call it a fluke because I did do the work, but I reached out to the right person at the right time and I ended up getting published, and then I won an award, and then that led to me getting published somewhere else. And it was just happening too fast and too soon. And I hadn't felt like I'd done the struggle. Something about early success crippled me. I just couldn't move forward. And I had the brain block, and I was like, I'll never be able to replicate this again. And then as time moved forward, sometimes your writing voice will change, or art changes, and that's not always a bad thing. But I tried to stick to the same voice that I had been told I was so lucky I had. I had such a unique voice and it worked really well. Clearly it won an award. I couldn't write it anymore because I wasn't happy. And I was trying to write a story that I couldn't write anymore. And I think I took that to mean I suck at writing now, which sucked because I love writing. And then I didn't do anything. And then I started this podcast. And that was like the first time I really got to like have my own creative project where I got to release it out into the world. And I've done that for a couple of years now. And I've reached a point where I realized I've been running away from writing, and I'm now allowing myself to write different things, and I'm really vibing with it, which now means it's scarier because if I try to hit this, if I want to be a writer, like have books and get published and have short stories, I don't even know. Like it's just really scary. Whereas before it was like, oh, like I'm young, it's a fluke, or I had it in class, it's fine, or I just happen to be good at this. But you know, if I live in this like forever potential, I never have to fail anybody, I guess. Myself. I don't know, guys. So that's just kind of been like a creative struggle I've had with writing, but now it's associated with my career. So now it's like, oh, well, if I get a job here, am I like never going to get the chance to do this other thing because my old job was very stressful and I got burnt out and I didn't have time to work on these things. I don't want to do that again. I don't want to wait another 5 years to be like, okay, wait, let me try to do this again. It's like when Harry met Sally. And Harry's like, you know, the when you realize you want to spend the rest of your life with someone, you decide you want that life to start today, right now. That was a bastardized version of that. But basically, it's like, now that I know what I want, I don't want to wait for it. I don't want to, I mean, part of that's being impatient. I know that this is not just like a easy process, but it's weird. I like really believe in myself and I feel very confident, and I think I'm afraid of that getting completely crushed and turned into dust. So I don't, anyway. So that was May. And I had 3 goals, and one was to start The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. It's basically a self-course workbook to deal with your creative demons. I also think that this contributed to my depression, but in a good way. I have not followed it week by week because again, I got really depressed, but I did the first chapter, and a lot of it is like facing your demons, like really looking at your life and realizing what were the things that have been holding you back? Who are the people that said things in your life? And it doesn't have to be like art related. It can just be people who put you down, because everything can affect your art. And I think opening that up was very good. And I didn't realize that there were certain things that have dictated my life essentially, and I didn't like that. And I had to grapple with it. And I think with everything going on, I just was like, ooh. So I worked through that. And each chapter is a week, by the way. So that's what I mean. Like I got through week 1, I read a chapter and did the exercises. So I'm hoping in June I can like squeeze that back in. I'm going to go at my own pace at this point. Ideally, you know, I do it week by week, but I think that I'm just in a place where maybe a chapter needs to take me 2 weeks. I don't know. Anyway, I did start it. I technically didn't say do it and follow it verbatim. So technically, I think I hit that first goal in May to check. Beautiful. The second goal in May was I was going to write every day. I don't know why I keep doing this goal. It never works. That's not like, there's something about me setting that goal that makes me instantly not want to do it anymore. So scrapping that. I didn't write every day. However, I am part of this short story competition that started back in January, I think, and there are 4 rounds. I made it to the 3rd round, and I forgot that there were 4 rounds. I thought just the 3rd round was the final, and I thought it'd be in June. And then I got an email and they were like, 3 out of 4 rounds, here are the results. And I was like, oh, okay, let's see. And I made it. I made it to the next round. And so that very weekend, I had to write up a story in 2 days. That was 1,500 words. And I continue to love this competition because it's making me think outside the box. Anyway, that short story I wrote, I kind of want to write into a book. And so I'm going to try to do that this summer. I've never seriously written a book. I mean, I do nano mostly, but for me, nano, I kind of just like do whatever. I do the cuckoo story and then it's really fun for me, but I have no intention of ever cleaning it up and publishing it because it's just not good in that sense. It's just like for me, it's just for me. But this is something I'd like really think I could enjoy working it out. In fact, I think I even know how to make it a trilogy. So we all know that that's like fancy. So yeah, writing every day and saying that just puts so much pressure on me versus like, I'm going to write a book and let me break this out week by week. I'm way better at doing that. I also tend to work really well writing at the last minute. Like with that short story, the first day I did no writing. I had thought I had my plot and I didn't. I wrote like 2 full short stories the second day, the due date. And then 5 hours before, I was like, I hate this. I'm starting over. And then I did it. And it was my best one. Very stressful though. But it's okay. We're here. So oops, didn't really do that goal, but I did technically write this month, even though it was totally unplanned. My third goal in May was I was going to give my 14-year-old car its first car wash. I did not do that. And it's covered in even more shit. So here's to June. Let's do that. Let's do that in June. Let's just leave that behind. I never made that goal. You never knew that my car has never been washed, and we're just gonna move on. So June is my birth month. I'm a Gemini and I'm feeling it. And I've had this pattern in my life, and I don't know how much of this is like a self-fulfilling prophecy or something, but I tend to have really shitty Junes. I think part of this was like when school released, I went back home and everybody was in a totally different state than me. I lived 500 miles away. And so the friends I had made would hang out and, I had the high school friends, but there's that natural drift you have anyway. And again, a lot of people would like stay on campus or they would get jobs, and I just wasn't able to get a job. I didn't have the means to do that with transportation. So I would just like sit around and I would get really depressed. I also was just incredibly depressed anyway. And so June tended to be like the first slam of like, oh, okay, this is how my summer's gonna go. And then usually once I get through June, I would kick back up in July. And then that pattern just seems to like continue. And again, maybe I'm like looking for it, so it feels that way. But do you ever have a month where you're just like, I'm always shitty this month? I don't know. June's kind of been that for me, and I don't really want that to be the case anymore. I don't think that it is as true as it might seem. I think like last year not last year, but like 2 years ago, I think that's when I had upped my medication. And then the hypomania and the depression were cyclical, like 3 days on, 3 days off. So I think that's like when that hit. Like, I think a lot of things just happened to hit me in June, and it's not necessarily an always recurring thing. So I don't want that this month. And like May and April were like really tough. So I'm just like, we're going to vibe in June. And because of that, I've come to a certain conclusion. I have not been good about posting episodes on Wednesdays. That's my published day. I've not been able to do that. I used to be really good about recording on Fridays and starting editing on Mondays. And I would record on Tuesday, and then I just had no energy and didn't care to edit for Wednesday because I reached a point where I was like, I can only do 2 things. And then I'm out. And this is again the whole thing of like I'm doing something that doesn't pay me, and so it's hard for me to justify following through on it if I'm already tired. Like if it was work and I was getting paid, and like if there was a deadline I owed to other people, totally different story. But that's not the case in my life here. So I just have been really dropping the ball, I feel like. And even if you don't care, I care, and I feel very guilty about it, and then I beat myself up about it. And I'm falling behind in a lot of other areas of my life as well. Like I do have another podcast, Swashbucklers. I didn't release any episodes in May. I have them stacked up. They're ready to go. Just the idea of editing it terrified me, and like moving forward, like, I don't know. So I had that overwhelming thing. My Patreon, I just kind of let die. I refunded everyone for this month. I just got so scared to post on it because I just was so drained and I had nothing to say. And then with each passing day that I didn't post, it got worse and worse. And I felt like a failure. And I was like, what the hell am I doing? And then you look at Angus Eye Tea in general, like I have to market myself. Usually I can post occasionally, ideally I'd be able to do something daily, but like, when I have my limits, I'm like, okay, like let's try for like twice a week, 3 times a week. It just abandoned everything. And then again, back to like publishing episodes, I felt like I was kind of publishing crap, or I couldn't have like good ideas, and I felt like I was repeating myself, which I do have that stretch come and go to me where I just feel like every episode I'm repeating myself. Like I swear to God, if I say like, I've been saying I've been depressed for a while, it's like, shut up. Mostly also because I live it daily and I'm like, yes, we know, Elaine, like shut up. So I apologize. I'm sure that's been annoying to some degree, but I hate when I feel like I'm in that repetitive circle. So I feel like I'm just not here. And in June, this is the month that I really want to up my job searching. I think I know what I want, and I would like to have a job by the end of July, starting August, regardless of what job that may be. I just need to get my ass in motion. So I'm going to be job searching, but I've kind of been doing that before anyway. And again, May just was a shit show. So I was job searching, recording and editing Angus Eye Tea, recording and editing Slashbucklers. I was having depression, just trying to get my normal daily things done, and I wasn't. And I just feel like that's too much for me right now, and I need to remove something from my plate. So, I've never taken a break officially from this podcast. I've done it for almost 3 years. It'll be 3 years in August. And I have taken the occasional break. Like I always take a break between Christmas, New Year's. I come back in January after I release the Christmas episode. I'll take the occasional week off, and if I'm like, oh, I'm vacationing and I can't get it together, fine. But I've never planned an actual break that was longer than just 1 week. You will be like, oh, okay, there wasn't an episode this week, but there's still like a lot of work I'm still doing for the next episode anyway. So even on those breaks, it's like I'm still doing a lot of work. And so I've decided I'm going to take a break and I will come back in August. And that's really weird for me. I'm kind of cringing right now. My shoulders are hunched and I'm crossing my arms like, don't take it away from me. But here's the reason why. Again, I need to up my job search. And I think that I just have so much going on in my head, and I want to be producing good content for this podcast. And I don't want to feel guilted by it. I want it to be this pure, beautiful thing. I've been able to push through a lot of times where it felt more like work instead of joy, which is fine because at the end I still enjoyed it, if that makes sense. So even during like the tough times I pushed through, but I feel like I'm spread really thin. Like my emotional butter is like a teaspoon, and I'm trying to butter 5 pieces of bread, and that's not enough butter. So I need to remove some of my breads so I can fully butter them. And then once I've had time to do that, I'll have more time to get more butter, and then I'll be back in my groove to butter all of the breads. I also thought about maybe just taking off a week or just for all of June, but I also then realized that probably won't be enough for me to really settle in and get the other things I need done, and I'd probably just be stressed the whole time. So giving myself a couple of months to really get everything together so I can come back with a lot of energy to this podcast, hopefully have some things ready to go so it's not overwhelming, to me is really important. I have a lot of podcast friends that are doing this too right now, and we're all the people who've never taken a break. And I've watched this happen with a lot of YouTubers. Like they just don't take a break and then they completely burn out. And I am trying to do this proactively so I don't reach that point. Again, it's weird. Like I'm worried that everyone I've talked to, we're all like, what if we never go back? But to me, that worry means that I will come back. And yeah, just to clarify, this is not the end of the podcast. I fully intend to come back. If anything, this is a really hard practice for me to leave, but I need to. And just think of all the stories I'll have to tell you in the meantime. I'll still be active on my socials, as active as I have been. Usually, if you don't know, I am most active in my Instagram stories specifically. My Patreon also will still be going. And I've narrowed that down too. I was like, I've given myself too much work. So there's one tier, it's $2, and you get a secret blog. And I will be working on writing my book this summer. And so I'll be posting updates about that. You'll be getting little snippets of what's actually happening to me in the process. So if you really miss me and you're like, oh God, I can't wait until August, you can hop over there. I also have a huge ass library of episodes at this point now, which probably also makes this easier for me. I'm pretty sure if you listen to like an episode a day, you'll be fine. You can get your fill of Elaine, and then you'll be good by the time I'm back. So yeah, coming back in August, I'm just repeating myself because I can't believe I'm doing this. Guys, I'm doing this. Aren't we so proud? I'm proud. This is so great. And at the end of it, my mental health comes first. Oh, it's so stupid. But I clearly haven't been doing great. And I need to throw myself into these other things right now. And I hate that, but I'm accepting it. I'm kind of excited. I'm not going to lie. To do something for 3 years and to have never taken a break is kind of wild now that I'm thinking about it. So, yeah, and I'm not a season show. So this could be like the season break. Or that weird thing ABC Family used to do where they were like the mid-season finale and then they'd have the actual season finale. It's like, just call it a whole season. What are you doing? My incense has been aggressively burning this entire time way too close to me, and I think it's doing things to me, but I don't know how to put it out. So I'm just going to plop that over there, and you can't get high off incense, can you? No one look it up. I hope that I don't let anyone down, most of all me, because I have all these great ideas that they wouldn't be too stressful for me, but I really hope I work on them and I get it. And I hope I have a job by the time I come back to y'all. There's a lot hanging in the air. So I guess this is kind of a suspenseful episode finale where we leave off with me really, really depressed, climbing out of the hole. I will be doing a streak where I will be working out from Memorial Day to July 4th. I'm just doing like a little bit of dancing. A lot of people run a mile each day, but I don't run. So I'll be dancing. I'm part of this group. It's really fun. But, that's already made me feel better. I finally worked out and I'm, look at that. I feel completely better and different. So go figure. So I'll be doing that while I'm out. But yeah, how will it go? What do you think is going to happen? Let me know. I'm scared, but I should end this now. Okay, so we got this and it's fine. And I'm still available on my social medias. So make sure to go follow me, Twitter and Instagram at Angus Eye Tea. Again, Instagram stories, that's where I'm most active. Patreon is patreon.com/Angus Eye Tea. Again, the tier $2 per month. That's less than a Taco Bell cravings box. I really hope that you are able to take a summer break of some sort. Maybe there's a task or, maybe you're part of a club and you've been doing it for so long and you're like, I need a break so I can appreciate this again. And maybe you take up something new for a little bit just to say you did it. And then you can go back and be like, God, I missed this. And then you just feel really happy. And I also hope that during this Gemini season, you feel whole and amazing. Shout out to all my Geminis. It's our time to be the center of attention, even though we try to do that all the time. May you survive this Mercury in retrograde as well. We can make it to June 22nd. I believe in us. And with that, I will talk to you in August. Bye, Heifers.